Hello and welcome to this little video. In a moment I'll be reading from this chap, Sam Spallucci, Troubled Souls, which was, let's see, it was my fifth Sam Spallucci book. Yep, definitely fifth. I'm getting old, I don't remember stuff like this anymore. And we're going to be looking at when my investigator paranormal Sam gets transported back in time to Victorian England. But first, please give us a quick like, give us a quick subscribe, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Anyway, straight on. An old fellow, you say? The hulking fisherman spied me with a mixture of scepticism and humour as I once again explained a redacted version of our predicament. That's right, an elderly gent, about 70, I would say. He's my friend's grandfather and prone to hysteria. Our backs were turned, and before we knew it, he'd run off. You didn't see him pass this way, did you? The giant rubbed the callous hand over his stubbled chin. Any of you chaps see this old fella they're speaking of? No, Big Jim, came various replies. Jim gave a shrug that seemed to measure about 10 on the Richter scale. Well, there you have it. No one's seen anything. I made to turn. Nothing that they can remember, that is. I paused and part groaned, part smiled. A funny thing, memory, isn't it? I said, turning back to the giant fisherman. It can be so patchy. Indeed it can, sir, he smiled. Especially one's been out in the boats all day. All that shiny water can play havoc with your mind. What's normally good at countering it is something far shinier. Now, if you had something like that, well, let's just say my memory might be able to clear itself. I reached into my pocket and pulled out one of the shillings from the tea room, praying to God it was genuine. I tossed it over to the fisherman, who let out a low whistle as he turned its gleaming surface over in his gnarled fingers. My, that must be the shiniest thing I've seen this week. Ain't that the truth? He looked up from his new prized possession and motioned with his head toward the western end of the promenade. An old chap was fair running for his life that way about 15 minutes ago or so. Now that my memory is nice and clear. He stowed the coin away in his pocket. I can't help but recall just how oddly dressed he was. Didn't look like he was wearing normal clothes, if you catch my drift. I nodded and smiled at Spliff. That's all very well, my companion noted, but he could still be anywhere by now. Well, it strikes me, sirs, Jim grinned, that you might need some help in finding him. And you'd be up for it, would you? I asked. He shook his head. Afraid not, these nets won't mend themselves. However, there might be a nice couple of gents who I know that are rather exceptional at that sort of thing. Now, perhaps if you had another nice shiny object, my old memory might be able to say who they were. I hope you enjoyed that. Take care. I'll see you again soon.